Dynamic membership for groups is a feature in Microsoft 365 that lets you dynamically add and remove people from groups based on things like people's job title or department. We're going to go through how to create one and which type can be used where, because you can't use them interchangeably because that would be too easy, right? So why is this important? Here's some examples of what we can do with this. We can share our Power BI report or dashboard with anyone that has a department value that contains the word sales. When new people are onboarded to the sales team, they will also automatically get access. We can do something similar for job titles. So for instance, if you need to share something with directors and VPs, you can make a rule that adds anybody that has the word director or VP in their job title to a group and share with that group. These can be used to control access to virtually anything in Microsoft 365. So SharePoint sites, Power BI workspaces, reports, Teams, Planner, Power Apps, virtually whatever you want. And it pairs really well with row-level security in Power BI because you can create roles with different filtering rules and then attach security groups to those roles. These are typically something that your IT department will need to create for you unless you are yourself an IT person. But half the battle with these things is knowing the exact right words to use when you ask for something, right? So let's get started. So we're going to start from the Azure portal, that is portal.azure.com. And from here, we can either scroll down to Azure Services and click on Groups, or we can just search for groups in here if it doesn't appear for whatever reason. From Groups, we're going to go to New Group, and then we choose a group type. So this is the important part to consider. You have two options here. You have security and Microsoft 365. So security groups are essentially just for security, whereas Microsoft 365 groups come with a bunch of extra baggage. So they come with a SharePoint site, they come with a shared mailbox, you can use Teams with them, that kind of thing. So think about whether you need those things or not for the group, but also think about whether or not the group type will work with the thing you're trying to share with. So for example, the Copilot agents, right now you can only share those with a security group, not a Microsoft 365 group. And also things like Power BI row level security will only work with a security group. Permission on other Power BI objects can take Microsoft 365 groups. The other thing to consider is whether or not you need nested groups. So nesting groups is where you put a group inside of another group. Microsoft 365 groups will not let you do that. So they are flat. They only contain people. You can't nest them. All right. So I'm going to use security group for this example and then choose a name. So the name is kind of important here because you want to have some kind of naming convention if you're going to have a lot of these. Otherwise, the list gets really messy and hard to find things. So try and make it so that the things that are alike sort together by starting them with a prefix that's similar. So we could do something like this would get all of our dynamic security groups to sort together and then have the department name that they're for after. Add a group description. Something that's useful to put in here is who created it and who it's for. Also what it's for, because a lot of these things are used in one particular place and it's not always obvious after you're using it for a couple of years where you're using certain groups. So that's useful to add there. And the Microsoft Entra roles, this is typically administrator roles. So I can leave this off if I'm creating a group for a department called sales. These are things like billing administrator, SharePoint administrator, that kind of thing. But it does say in the tooltip that switching this to yes will be permanent. Keep that in mind. The membership type. So I'm going to select dynamic user and then set an owner. Now we need to set the query. So this is going to be what rules it uses to decide who gets to be a part of the group. And these are rules that run on a regular basis. It's not a one-time thing. So it'll continually add and remove people from the group according to whatever rules you add. So I'm going to start with the UI selector to show you what's in here. We have, if we're scrolling down through here, company name, if you've got multiple companies going on, your country, department, job title, state, user type. And then you have these extension attribute 1, 2, 3, 4. These are custom attributes. So if your IT department is using something proprietary to label people, you can use those with these properties here. I'm going to start with department and then we choose an operator. So we have all kinds of interesting options in here, but you'll notice that contains is not in this list. It's still supported in the documentation. So I'm going to put the link to the documentation for how the rule syntax works in the video description. But if we want to use contains, all we do is select one of these and then change it in the code. So I'm going to say equals for now, and then put in sales. And you need to put this in double quotes. It's really important. If you don't put in double quotes, your rule won't be valid. There's no save button on here, but if you click into any of the white space, it'll automatically update the rule syntax down here. You can edit this rule syntax with the edit button on the far right, and then we can change this -eq, which is equals, to contains. You can use and or here too. So if I wanted to say department contains sales or department contains marketing, I can do that. All right, click OK when you're done. And now we get to validate the rule. So validation just checks to make sure it's working. So at this point, you just add users with this add users button here to check whether or not the rule is working for those users. So just pick a few people with different department labels to make sure that it's picking up the right membership. So I'm going to choose Adele and myself. And Adele is in sales. It's picking her up. She's green. I am not in sales. I have a red X. That means I'm not going to be added to the group, which is what we want. So a rule is working. If your status shows as a gray question mark of unknown, that means there's something wrong with your rule. So make sure you add those double quotes because that'll cause issues. When you're done, click on save and then create. So if we want to check who's in this group now, there's two places we can do that. If you are an administrator, you can go back to the groups menu. So all groups, click on your group name to open it, then go to manage and members. I want to point out here that if you just created your group, it takes a minute or two for the people to show up in it. So if you don't see people right away, just give it a minute. You can see these people have been automatically added as members of the group. If you are not in IT and you don't have access to this interface, you can still check the group membership. So there's a link. I'm going to put this link in the video description. It's myaccount.microsoft.com/groups/groups I-own. That's going to show you groups that you own. So you can click on these and open them up and see who's in them from here. So everybody would have access to this. If you need to update your rule, just scroll down to dynamic membership rules down here and use the edit option next to the rule syntax to edit it. If you've customized the rule syntax with the code, you won't be able to do it with the GUI editor anymore, so you'll have to update it with code. But the documentation will tell you how to do that. So everything you need should be available online. So now let's go through how to use the group once it's created. If I go to Power BI, for example, and I want to share this report, I can use the share button and then change this option. So I really don't like the sharing links where anyone with the link can view it, particularly for more confidential things, because that can get passed around in email and anybody and their mom can access it, right? So we want to share this with specific people. So specific people is going to let us select that security group we just created and then click apply and then put in the name of the security group here. So I can just copy and paste this name into the box. So you can tell it's working because it resolved. If for whatever reason it's invalid, it'll just have a red X here and an error message. You can also just start typing in here and they should pop up. So there it is. Sometimes these won't necessarily pop up as you start typing. So if it doesn't, just put in the whole name and it should pop in there and then send. So now if I log in as Adele, she's my test account that comes with the dev tenant, and I go to that report, I'm able to load it. No Copilot, I don't want you to help, thanks. If I want to use this group with row level security, it's a very similar deal. So I'm going to come back to my workspace and I've got a report in here that's published that has row level security roles on it. If I use the ellipses menu next to the model, I can go to security, and this is my role. I can add the group to the role just by pasting in the name. Oops, that's the link. Okay, there we go. So this is the place where Microsoft 365 groups won't work. Needs to be a security group or people. So I'm going to add that and save. I can test as this role with this ellipses menu next to the role name and then put in the name of somebody that's in that group to see the report as if I were them. I can also use these in SharePoint. So if I go to a SharePoint site, so this is a group linked site. You can tell because it says private group up here. So it's already got a Microsoft 365 group linked to it, but I can add more people to just the SharePoint site if I go to the gear menu and site permissions. If I choose to add members to share site only, I can paste in that security group here, and that'll put them on the site, but not in the Microsoft 365 group, because remember, we can't nest groups inside of Microsoft 365 groups, and then we can choose edit or read access here. All right, so that was how to use dynamic security groups to share access in Microsoft 365. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.